A very good afternoon to everyone. The Department of Management Studies, IIT-Delhi is an established name not only in the academic fraternity, but also in the corporate world. Today, we feel truly blessed to have with us Acharya Prashant sir to address us as Inspire 2.0 speaker. He has been kind enough to accept our invitation and address the students of IIT Delhi for the 4th time. Thank you, sir. Acharya Prashant needs no introduction. From being an acclaimed Vedanta teacher to a national best-selling author of over 100 books, he is a powerful force of socio-spiritual transformation in today's world. He is a recipient of many awards, including the most influential Vegan of the Year by PETA. He is also a famous TEDx speaker. You would be glad to know that his recent TEDx talk was one of the top 10 most watched talks in March 2023. Today, tens of millions of people, especially the youth, get inspired daily by Acharya Prashant. He continues to impart wisdom to the masses through various offline and online channels. Sir, it's an honor to welcome you to address us, the students of IIT Delhi. On behalf of all of us, we thank you for accepting our invitation. Now I request Pankaj sir to come up on stage and welcome sir with the sapling. We now pass on the session to members of Prashant Advait Foundation to take the interaction forward.
Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Ashank. I'm an MTech student here at IIT Delhi. Sir, most of my friends plans to go to United States or Western countries for higher education and for jobs. When they go there, they tend to adopt the Western culture and leave behind the Indian tradition and Indian culture. Sir, my question is how Bhagavad Gita and Upanishad can help inculcate the true Indian values and help them understand the Indian tradition and culture to those youth.
We are conflating a couple of things here. Thank you for the question. Please sit. See, Vedant, that's the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra. They do not teach you tradition, culture, or values. Let's get this very clear, first of all. Bringing you to the essential truth of your being is in no way the same as teaching you tradition, culture, or values. These are very, very different things. Very different things. In fact, a lot that you let pass by the name of culture or tradition starts appearing quite childish when you delve deep into the Upanishads. Are you getting it? Culture is something that you take from the past as much as you allow the past to influence you. And culture keeps changing. If you read about your culture or traditions, they are today in no way the same as they were even just 50 years back. They have been changing. Note the word change. Whereas if you talk of the Upanishads, they take you to that which is unchangeable. The difference must be very clear. The difference is very stark. Culture is all the time changing, right? In fact, you get a new flick, a new release, and you very well know that in its own little way, it changes culture, does it not? Language, for example, is a part of culture. We know that, right? That which you wear is a part of culture. That which you eat, and how you greet, all this is part of culture. Your town planning, right? And of course, the values that you cherish, all that is culture. And does all that not keep changing every passing day? So, Vedant exists to take you to that which will never change and hence is absolutely reliable. If something changes and changes quite whimsically, would you be able to trust it? Please tell me. Can you base your life on something that is subject to the caprice of time? Please tell me. Take it very personally. If you are with someone, right, as a friend or a relative or a partner, would you feel okay if that person can fundamentally change any given day? To live, you require that which is not born out of influences, which is not a product of the human mind. Everything that is coming from the society is a product of human mind, and it just keeps changing. If it keeps changing, then it will not be able to take you too far. The purpose of spirituality is to give you the deepest inner assurance possible, the deepest rest and peace possible. And that you can get only if you have something that is not man-made, that is not a product of thought, that is not influenced or conditioned. And culture, values, tradition are not that, not at all. You know that, right? This auditorium did not exist 100 years back. But let's say it did. Would you be sitting here in these same clothes? So things have changed, right? Look at the kind of food you eat today. Is it the same as what your grandparents used to eat? Your language? Even your values. I'm pretty sure a few decades back, we won't have so many female participants here, right? What are you doing studying engineering or business education? What are you doing? The values of that time wanted you either to not to be educated at all or be educated only in housekeeping, right? So things have changed. Are you getting it? I'm still to get over this. How are people able to relate the Upanishads or Gita to culture or tradition or values? There is just no relationship. In fact, the spiritual man, the man of Vedant, the man of wisdom, will have very little regards for culture, tradition, values, etc. If he has to value, he will value just that one that the Gita enjoins him to value. Does Krishna teach you to value 1,000 things? Is that the philosophy, the message of the Gita? Value 1,000 things. Value what your father told you. Value the kind of local customs that are practiced in your region. Is that what the Upanishads or the Gita are telling you? They're telling you that you must value only the absolute truth. And beyond that, nothing is to be valued, right? And in this world, if something is to be accorded value, it would be in proportion to the capacity of that thing to take you to the truth, right? If I am, for example, to value this occasion, that value has to be proportionate to the intent and ability of this occasion to give us something higher, right? If this occasion fails to give us something higher, why must we value or respect this occasion? Must you? The value that you are according to this speaker has to be commensurate with the intent and ability of this speaker to give you something that is sublime, that has a timeless value. If only is this speaker able to do that, Does he deserve some value? Otherwise, he should be thrown out of this place. That's the message of the Gita. That's what when Krishna says that you should leave all the dharmas behind and come only to me. What does he mean when he says that all the dharmas are to be left behind? Mamekam sharanam braj. What does that mean? That means, all these responsibilities and things of thought and culture and tradition and value and whatnot and conditioning of 1,000 kinds that you have given place to in your mind, just keep them aside. They don't merit the kind of respect that you give them. Value just that one thing that I'm teaching you right now. That understanding is everything, right? Blindly following this or that custom does not mean much. In fact, if you look at those who have been able to reform the society, they were the ones who were deeply rooted in Vedanta. If you will go to the Indian Renaissance of the last 2.5 centuries, look at the names you come across. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Debendranath Tagore, D.K. Karve. Who are these people? Where were they coming from? Or Swami Dayanand Saraswati, where were they coming from? Or Swami Vivekanand, for that matter. Or Mahatma Gandhi, he too was a social reformer. Or if you want to take the entire spectrum, then obviously you have to include Dr. Ambedkar, Savitribai Phule, Jyotiba Phule. They were coming from their commitment to the truth. Or were they committed to tradition and values and culture? I'm asking you, please tell me. If tradition, values and culture are to be accorded a great place, then we would never improve. Never. So if people are going abroad and then refusing to read wisdom literature, that's when I'll be alarmed. That's when I'll be alarmed. But if they go abroad and let their language be influenced, or their choice of clothing, let the jury be still out. Obviously, I'll not want somebody to turn a flesh eater just because he has left India and settled abroad. But if you say that you will behave in exactly the same way after settling abroad, you say you must behave and wear and speak exactly the same way as you used to do when you were in Kanpur or Nagpur or Indore or Badaयूं or Hapur or that defies common sense. But if your commitment to the truth starts wavering when you go abroad, then that indeed is a cause for concern. If the Gita was respectable to you as long as you are in India, and once you land abroad, you shun the Gita, then I'll be concerned. It's the timeless truth that matters, please understand. Everything else is anyway time dependent, is it not? Except the truth, everything is time dependent, and that which is time dependent must obviously change with time. Kalchak. Only the truth is kalatit, akal, samayatit, as you put it. What's the problem in letting the other things change? And if you don't want to let things change, then let's behave as we used to do in the last century or in the 16th century or in the 6th century. Even the advocates of culture do not want us to go back to the 6th century. And if you think of it, the 6th and the 7th centuries were probably the last periods in history when India had a totally indigenous culture, right? 8th and 9th century onwards, India started getting influenced from the Western contacts. In fact, I should not even say 8th and 9th century. Before the Arabs came, there were the Greeks. And the Greeks came 500, 700 years, 1,000 years rather, not 1,000, 700 years before the Arabs. And then later on the Turks came. So if you want to have a pure culture, you will have to go to not to year 1800, but to 800. And even 800 will not be very pure. And all those who keep talking of culture and Indian values, the maximum that they want to revert to is 1800. My question to them is, why 1800? Why not 1600, 1200? Why not the year 800 Christ era? And why not go back to the culture before Christ? How are you arbitrarily drawing a line and saying that, we must behave as we used to do in the 18th, 19th and 20th centuries? And even there, you want to behave as per your local custom and tradition. Typically, those who talk too much of the culture talk of the North Indian culture. And they believe that the North Indian culture is the culture of the entire country. So look at what they are saying. They are talking of something very narrow in terms of regionality and also temporality. In terms of time, they are saying, let's go back just 100 years. Not less than 100 years. Not more than 100 years. And in terms of regionality, let's limit ourselves to the Hindi belt. What about the culture elsewhere? If you want to retain culture, then you must retain the culture that was found all across the subcontinent. And also, if you really want to retain the culture that existed in India in the 18th, 19th or 20th centuries, then a lot that you do today will have to be stopped. From where has the trouser arrived? From where have the potato chips arrived? This was not happening even 200 years back. And I keep asking, chips come later. First of all comes the potato. From where has the potato arrived? Potato is not indigenous. Neither is the tomato. If you want to limit yourself only to the things that belong exclusively to the subcontinent, then forget about chips and burgers and pizzas and Manchurian balls. You will have to give up on tomato and potato as well. You use the kurta, for example, on all your religious occasions, don't you? From where has the kurta come? Is the kurta really indigenous? If you talk of things that are exclusively to India, India, mind you, had very little tradition of any upper wear, neither for men nor for women, because we are a hot country. So men used to wear next to nothing when it comes to the upper body, and women too used to wear very little. That's the Indian culture. Now tell me, from where has the ghungat come? But you talk of the ghungat as Indian culture. It is not. And you know from where the ghungat is coming. You know the tribes belonging to Arabia that used to practice parda. That was a cultural thing there. And when the cultural mixture took place. Then that thing came to India as well, and you started using the ghungat. But today, if you locate a woman wearing a sari and practicing the ghungat, you will immediately say, oh, she's a cultural woman. But she's not. The problem is that we don't read. So we do not know. In the name of culture, all that we know of is the stuff that we saw in our houses till a few decades back, and we think that is Indian culture. But that's a very illiterate kind of view of Indian culture. Just because your grandfather was doing something, how does it become Indian culture? You know what is culture? That which people practice is culture. That which people practice is culture. If a foreigner came to India just around, let's say, 30 years back, he would say chewing the betel nut with supari and katha and chuna and spitting it out selectively on white walls is Indian culture. Because that's what everybody was doing in India, especially on the hospital walls. That's how hygienic we were. Now you're not doing that, right? Why are you not doing that? Why are you defying your culture? Note the definition of culture. Culture is an ever-changing entity, right? That which most people start practicing becomes the culture. You guys are a little young. Those who have a few grey hair would remember the menace of Pan. You remember? Common buildings, government buildings, hospitals, everywhere, just Pan, Pan and Pan. How is that not culture? Please tell me. And do you want to retain that? Or do you rather want to improve? Please tell me. So, the great good elements of culture must be retained. And how do you know what is good in your culture? That which leads to the truth of the Upanishads and Gita is good. That which you are just blindly practicing is bad. It's simple, is it not? It's so straightforward. Love these poems. They come from Hindi. Obviously, most of you will understand. How many of you do not know Hindi at all? Good, then we can have questions in Hindi as well at some stage, right? Right. So, लो अतीत से उतना ही जितना सुंदर है, जीर्ण शीर्ण का मोह मृत्यु का द्योतक है. Do not just blindly take everything from the past. That which is life-giving, that which is full of goodness must be retained. And also, new customs can be started. You have to examine your values very carefully. It's not a small thing. What is it that you value? That is the thing that determines your entire life, right? Value means respect. Value means honor. If you value something, you will accord that thing your time, your energy, your mental space, right? Once you start valuing something, you start giving it your money, your time, your energy, your mental space, which is your entire life. So how can you just blindly value something and say, oh, it is a cultural value? No. Value determines life. So be very careful. There is a lot in our past that is immensely great, and there is a lot in our past that we need not touch today. So apply discretion. Are you getting it? I do not like those who think of the past of India as just junk. They want to jettison everything. They say, no. If it is Indian and it is old, we do not want to touch it. They are fools at one extreme. And at another extreme are fools who say, oh, if it is Indian and it is old, then it is venerable. No. Truth does not lie at either of these two extremes. There is stuff in the past that you must immensely respect. We are talking of the Gita, we are talking of the Upanishads, we are talking of our great philosophers and mathematicians and scientists. Why must we not be proud of them? I'm proud of a Karnava, an Ashtavakra, a Kapil, a Kanad. Obviously, all the rishis of the Upanishads. They are the ones I'm proud of. I'm proud of Sushrut. I'm proud of Aryabhat. They are the ones I'm really proud of. There is a lot in our past we can justifiably be proud of. And I have just thrown a few names at you. There are dozens of such great names, but they are not valued. Instead, we value a lot of rubbish from the past. Is that okay? Tell me. Do you like that? We can't. Today, if I start asking you about, let's say, Sankhya Yoga, you would not know probably. The fact is that the distinction between the material world and the conscious self is at the basis of a lot of great literature that arose from the West in the last 2 centuries. But we will not know that. As young people, I'm sure you admire Jonathan Livingston Seagull or Siddharth from Hermann Hesse, right? You also talk of Animal Farm in 1984, don't you? Pink Floyd. If you go into their works, you will see a distinction between the world and the self. All that is coming from Sankhya Yoga. But today, if I ask you, kindly tell me the originator, you will not know. If I ask you, kindly tell me the important works of Sankhya Yoga, you will not know. Instead, we keep talking of Indian culture, tradition, values. That is not justified. So many people, for example, are practicing yoga today, correct? Even here. How many of you practice yoga in some form or the other, at some time or the other? But if I ask you, have you really gone through Patanjali's works? You will not know. And if you do know them, then I'm so thankful and happy. Now, Patanjali is someone you can be proud of. He has given a system of practice that is relevant even today, will continue to be relevant. The entire world is benefiting from it. Instead, they get quite angry when they see me in this kind of an outfit. They say, "Why are you wearing this? What's your problem?" I will. And sometimes I make it a point to wear this just to annoy them. It's not that I feel greatly comfortable in this. But the uniform of a soldier is not meant to make the soldier feel comfortable, right? It has a different purpose. It is war gear. It is meant to do something to the adversary. And I have been so comfortable in a kurta like this for very, very long years. It's okay. I'll talk of the Gita. In that or in this? How does it matter? Please tell me. Or does it? If Krishna were to come today, would he wear the same kind of clothes you find him wearing? On the grounds of Kurukshetra? Would you find him walking around in the same kind of clothes? Please tell me. Is the Gita timeless or are clothes timeless? But people who do not know the Gita are very concerned with clothes, especially women's clothes. That only tells about their own untamed sexuality. Why are women wearing this, wearing that? It is against Indian culture. Come on, grow up. Grow up. Grow up and tame your inner animal. How is it that all the time you are concerned with women's clothes? No, not the animal culture. Tell me a few verses from the Bhagavad Gita, they will not know. Tell me how does chapter 2 compare and contrast with chapter 4, they will not know. That which is time bound, even if you try extremely hard, you will not be able to save it. It's not the nature of time to spare anything. Nothing. Buildings, time dependent, right? Food, men and women, kingdoms, time dependent. All that is within time is reduced to zero by time. Time gives birth and time annihilates. Culture, it rises at a point and then it disappears at a point. Come on. Don't you understand the basics of spirituality? That which takes birth in time will one day obviously die in time or change in time. Correct? Wisdom, spirituality, Vedanta, Gita, Upanishads, they exist to take you to the timeless, because it is the timeless that your heart beats for. Spirituality is not about following culture. It is also not about opposing culture. Spirituality is about taking the mind to that which transcends the mind. And whatever the mind has is time stuff. Mind stuff is time stuff. And the mind will never feel at peace till it continues to rotate within itself, that is, within time. The purpose of spirituality is to liberate you from all kinds of sorrow. And time is sorrow. But this you will understand only if, first of all, you go to an Ashtavakra or to a Ribhu or to a Dattatreya. Mind is time. Time is sorrow. And you do not want to live in sorrow, do you? If you do not want to live in sorrow, you will want to know the limitations of mind and time. And when you know those limitations, you transcend them. That's Atmagyan or self-knowledge, the right word for spirituality. Spirituality is a very loose word. I came across something quite hilarious today. They said, this Acharya, who is not even qualified or something, he keeps talking against rituals. But look at spirituality. It is spirit plus rituality. Forget about epistemology. You have not even studied etymology. You do not know where the word is coming from. This kind of thing. Spirituality is spirit plus rituality. So spirituality is all about following rituals, I say. And you have a lot of these people these days. They call themselves spiritual leaders and they play with words. They just play with words. And this kind of a, for example, give me any word. I'll tell you what they'll make out of it. Let's play a small game. Give me some word. Huh? No, the word has to be long enough so that one can play with it. Huh? Desire. So they will say, when you stop accepting anybody as your boss, that's when you move out of desire. Desire says desire. What does sire mean? S-I-R-E. Huh? Bossiness. When you have someone over your head, you say he is siring me. So desire means breaking free. So desire is great. This kind of spirituality is what we have today. Anything goes. You said Shiva. I didn't take that. But it can be taken. And it can be brought down to an unimaginable level. The kind of things they can say. They'll say, you say that the Indian culture has been misogynist. It has not been misogynist. See? She, wah. This is the level to which they have descended. Just take some word and start playing with it and prove a point, and people buy that. People say, wow, this is great, wonderful. Velocity. No, cities must be speedy. Only then you will have wellness and city. City. Citibank used to say when they came for campus hiring at IIM, the city never sleeps. Probably they still say that.
Mumbai.
Huh?
Mumbai for Mumbai.
Huh. Is that wisdom? Is that Gita? Is that Upanishads? Is that something you can be proud of? Please tell me. Then how can you take that seriously? How can you patronize that? Or that's what is going on. We can play this game a little more. Any word you take, and they'll come up with a clever quip. Spirituality is rituals. Beat that. A correction. लो अतीत से उतना ही जितना पोषक है. I had said सुंदर है. That's actually लो अतीत से उतना ही जितना पोषक है. जीर्ण शीर्ण का मोह मृत्यु का द्योतक है.